What is going on, guys? Long time no see. Slum Bubba back from the grave. I'm taking a lot of classes this summer trying to get done with school, so I've been covered up. The other day, though, I launched CSGO and boom, your boy is in Source 2 finally. It only took me threatening the entire dev team with spankings, but it did eventually get in. Super excited about that. So I turned on my stream, played a little bit, talked to some of the guys for a while, and of course I was absolutely dominating, like you can see in this clip. 2 on, 3 on, 4 on. No! And naturally the game got pretty boring pretty fast as there was no competition for me. So this led to me eventually going on the workshop and starting to look at some of these Zeus skins now that we've had a while for artists to actually create them. I ended up going through all the Zeuses. You know, obviously some of them you can tell without clicking on them. There's not a lot going on, so I skipped over those. But I did eventually make it through every single Zeus. That VOD is linked down below if any of you guys want to check out that full VOD. This is going to be me going through my favorites from that and talking about them to you guys in a really short format so it's a little easier for you to digest. But if you want my full unfiltered thoughts right as I saw them, that is linked down below for you to go watch to your heart's content. Little nub drawings. You guys know I'm a self-proclaimed nub slut. I love when they do stuff to the nub. But guys, just remember, before we get into these Zeus skins, if you see any that you like, I will, as always, link every single one down in the description, and be sure to go support these artists, say you want these skins in the game, because that's how we get them in, guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it and look at some Zeus skins. The first skin I want to talk about is one made by Samoda, and that is the standard issue. While your initial look at this may view it as like very plain and just a yellow reskin, there's actually a lot going on underneath. I like the warning sign on it. I like the lasers at the bottom. I think it's all done very well. I think the color mixture across the whole gun is very nice, and I think this would make for a very awesome low tier Zeus if we were to get some sort of Zeus crate when all this comes out. Next up, I want to talk about the Zeus MUDSPEC in Forest Camo. There are 3 variants for this skin, one yellow in carbon fiber, one blue in carbon fiber, and then we have this one I've picked, which is the Forest Camo version. I think all 3 of them look very nice, but I do like the idea of a, just classic camo Zeus. I haven't seen anybody do that really in a lot of these, and I think he executed it very well. I like the orange font on the nub and on the little thing on the side. I think it looks good, and I think altogether this one is very simple, but I think this one's executed very well and would make for an awesome skin a lot of us would enjoy to have as a lower tier in a Zeus crate. Next up, we have the Zeus Graphical, and this is one that I was a little tore on. The initial images almost made me skip over this one, but when I looked at it, I actually really like what he's done here. We're definitely getting like Borderlands comic book vibes from this one. I think it's a really interesting composition. Is it one we'd ever see in Counter-Strike? I'm not exactly sure, but I think I'm here for it and would like to see this added to a case. And I think due to its color, it might actually be like around a purple tier, which would make for a really cool skin that I think a lot of us would love to own. Next up, we have the Zeus Blueprint, and this is one where I think the idea was really good, but the execution needs just a tad bit of work. I think a lot of these areas on it that are very open, like to the right of the nub and on the handle, I think we need a little more going on. Like if we look at toward where your thumb is on this one, we see a lot of little drawings and arrows and stuff. I think we need to break up some of those larger blue areas with more like blueprint doodles spread throughout. I think it would add a lot to it because it seems a little plain, but this idea is really cool and I would love to see this enhanced upon and added to the game. Next up, we've got the Baby Player 2, a skin I'm sure a lot of you recognize. It's already in the game on the M4A1S. I think this composition is actually really interesting, you know, going from the M4A1S where you have a pretty big canvas down to this Zeus, and I think he did a really good job working it into the Zeus. You know, we have the guy standing here, he's got a speech bubble and it's kind of wrapping around down there to the trigger, which is very cool. I think he fits it all on there very well. There's so many colors going on. It's a very, very vibrant skin. I like how he has the nub as a smiley face. I will say, I think if this one got added, it would be a red, just like the M4A1S counterpart, but I am here for it and would love to get this one day. Next up is one of my favorites of this whole video, and that is the Zeus cardboard. We might have to go back to the drawing board with the name. I think it's a little too much on the nose right now, but the execution on this one is absolutely incredible. This is a Zeus made out of cardboard. There's no doubt about it. I think this thing looks absolutely incredible. Kudos to the artist for this one. He just knocked it out of the park. The wear all across the gun is beautiful. We have little signs of, like, you know, it used to be a package with that like orange peeking through. It looks absolutely incredible. This one really blew my socks off in the live stream when I saw it. I still, looking at it again, am absolutely blown away. And due to its color, you know, it would be a lower tier Zeus if it were to get accepted. And I am praying this one gets added to the game. Super cool. And again, to the artist that made this, absolutely awesome work. Next Zeus skin I want to talk about is the Faux-neon, and while I don't really like this one, I have to say the idea is very interesting. You know, the neon sign, Zeus skin, I think that's a cool idea. I just think our execution was a little poor on this one. I think instead of, you know, having like open bar 24 hours and all these random things, maybe we kind of curve that to be a little more of like Counter-Strike symbolism. Hear me out. So like instead of the flamingo at the bottom, maybe we do a chicken, and then, you know, we keep adding things that are familiar to Counter-Strike players. Counter-Strike players don't go to bars or tropical locations. We need stuff that reminds us of the game, but I think this is a really good idea, and I would love to see this change to symbolize Counter-Strike a little bit more. Another one here that I think the idea behind is very, very strong, but I think the execution isn't quite there yet. This is the Zeus Retro, and I think this whole composition as a whole isn't terrible, but it seems a little bland to me. The colors are very solid and not very broken up. I think if we added maybe just a little bit of signs of wear to this, it would go a long way. I also think the yellow accents really kind of take away from this one. I think maybe I would do like a dark gray or maybe even black for those. It kind of makes me not think of like a controller, because I think we're all thinking of like an NES controller maybe when we see this. And I feel like that yellow kind of pulls me away from that a little bit. But what I will say, I love the controller ports on the side. I love the little screen on the side. And especially, I love the cartridge, the CS cartridge stuck in the bottom. I think it's a great idea. I think it just needs to be refined a little bit more. And I hope we can see this stuff acted on and maybe see this thing added in the future. Next up, we have the Chameleon. There's a few different variants of this skin. I'm looking at the orange one here. You guys know me, I'm a fan of Brock Hoffer, the guy that made the Hyper Beast, and one of my favorite things about his skins is how he works them into the weapon to make them fit properly, and I think this is done beautifully here. You know, we have the Chameleon's eye being the nub at the end of the skin. The trigger, I won't delve into what I think the trigger could be, but I think this is a cool skin. I think all the color variants are pretty interesting. One point I will say about this though, I think if we could put pearlescence on this and make it change as you moved it around in your hand, that would be very cool. Is it possible? I don't even know, but it's a Chameleon and I think that would be a cool touch for it, but really great job on this one. I hope to see it added to the game. Next up, we have the Zeus barrier modification, and this one is very similar to, like, you know, maybe an actual taser you would see in real life. I mean, I don't think you'd see it be like emerald green like this, but there's a yellow version that looks very similar to just a real taser, very reminiscent of Samoda's skin we looked at earlier. But I think this emerald green is very nice looking. I think the accents throughout look very, very good. I think the gray kind of blurriness in the background makes everything pop off a little more. The in-game screenshots for this one look really great, and the artist has this one as a purple. I think that's the perfect place for this, and I think a lot of us would be thrilled to open this up as a purple out of a case in the future. Next up, we have the Zeus Electra. This is one in my live stream I almost went right over, and I'm glad I didn't. I clicked on it. Not a huge anime guy, so I kind of read it off instantly, but this composition is really interesting to me. I think the blue and green lightning toward the front of the gun, wrapping around the girl, looks very cool. I think the portrait of the girl is interesting too. The in-game screenshots go really hard, actually. I think he did an excellent job on the back of this Zeus. I think it looks really cool. I will say, guys, I think if this one were to get added, it would have to be a pink or higher, but I'm okay with that. I think I would be happy with this if I got it as a pink, but I would love to know what you guys think in the comments. Do we need an anime Zeus or not? Please let me know. Next up, not a ton to say about this one, the Zeus Banana Mode, made by the same artist who made the Banana Revolver and the Revolution case, and I'm sure a lot of you don't know this about me, but for a very small time, I was the owner of the highest float R8 banana in the world, i.e. the most spoiled banana. I'm here for more banana skins. There's not like a crazy lot going on. It just looks like a banana, but I think he executes it very well with the barcodes and stuff. I think that adds a lot to it, and the, like, you know, brown spots all over it. Very masterfully done, and I am totally here for it. I think it would probably be a purple if it got added, but I would love to add this to my banana collection. Next up, guys, we've got the Zeus Danger Zone. This skin absolutely broke my heart. These renders of it look so incredible with the solar insulation material all over the sides. It looks like an astronaut space weapon. But as we go through the renders here, we get to the in-game screenshots, and my heart was just broken, guys. This just does not translate well into the game. It looks like some old wood or something. Very, very orange. We're not getting that like foil depth that we get in the renders. This one absolutely shattered me. It was one of my favorites just from looking at the renders, and these in-games broke my heart. I don't think we'll see this one added, unfortunately, due to how bad the in-game looks. Guys, I could very well be being way too harsh on this one. Again, the idea is really good. The renders look great, but I just don't think we're capable of having something like this in-game. You guys let me know if you think the end games are still acceptable, but for me, this one's a pass, but I still wanted to talk about it because I think there was a lot of potential here. Next up, a more plain one, but something I think we need to talk about. There's a lot of people on the workshop who just made a Zeus that's blue and named it blue and put it on there. This is a little more than that. This is the Aurora, and we're looking at the green variant here. And I think this is okay for a lower tier Zeus in a crate, like a mil-spec level Zeus. There's way more going on than just making the Zeus green, as I'm sure a lot of you can tell. I think the orange accents all over it look very nice. We've got the label on the side. You can definitely tell that this artist put in a little bit of work into this one, as opposed to the people that are just making the Zeus like a solid color. And I wouldn't mind seeing a couple different variants of this as lower end Zeuses and maybe like a Zeus crate. You know, maybe we get one green, one yellow, one red, you know, whatever they choose. And that way we can just have some solid color Zeuses in the game. Next up, we've got the Zeus Good Omen Koi, and I'm sure a lot of you already know why I picked this one. He absolutely kills it with what I'm going to call the nub work on this one, making the nub into a flower. Absolutely gorgeous, but of course the whole composition as a whole is very beautiful. The one thing I will say about this one is it's not exactly fitting to the gun great, with the koi kind of getting cut in half, but there is so much going on in the skin with the lily pads and the waves. I think it looks very good still. You can tell the guy that made this is an incredibly talented artist, and I would like to see this one in game at some point. The next one I want to talk about, I was a little conflicted about because when I originally saw it, I didn't like it. This is the Zeus electrical waves, and it's supposed to be a water gun. That's what we're going for here. But I think the orange and blue are an okay choice, but I think the wave decal across the side kinda is weird. I think if I was going for a water gun approach, I may just do neon, like blocky colors all around, kind of thinking of like a 90s Super Soaker or something like that. But the reason that we are actually talking about this one right now is I think the artist did an incredible job with the trigger. Look at that. That is beautiful. Just like on a water gun, you've got that tiny ass little red trigger. I think that is a genius idea. I think overall as a whole, I'm not a huge fan, but I gotta give props for that trigger. And also, you know, we've got that gray pump at the bottom. I think even though this skin did some things wrong in my eyes, it also did a lot of things right. And I think some of you might enjoy it, even though I don't think it's quite good enough to be in a case. Next up, we have the first of a few skins that play directly into the name Zeus. This is the Zeus Thunder God. Absolutely incredible artwork on this one. I mean, I don't think anybody would say they don't think this artwork is pretty sick. The electricity going all around. You know, we've got the nub kind of mixing into the color of the electricity. Very cool. Fits to the gun pretty well. You can definitely tell that they drew this in mind of like putting it on a Zeus. He kind of fits to it perfectly. I couldn't even guess really what tier this would be. I mean, it would have to be high. I think red, maybe pink, I don't know. But incredible job to the artist that made this one. I am a big fan and I hope to see it added one day. Okay, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because I've got an absolute heartbreaker for you here. I know a lot of you are seeing this, and you're probably instantly thinking what I thought, and that's, can the artist change the screen on the back? Because this one's so cohesive. It doesn't have that green screen on the back, kind of, you know, taking away from it all. And quick answer is they can't. When I got to the in-game screenshots, I was like, oh no. Because that screen really does take away from it, but damn if this still isn't such a cool skin. I think a cop-out that we maybe could do to make that screen work a little better is if we made, instead of this like lava, like fiery kind of skin, maybe we leave the stone black and we turn all that lava to like green. I don't know what it would be at that point, maybe just like a toxic kind of theme, but that would make the screen fit a little better on the back. I think this is an incredible skin. I think whoever did this absolutely fucking killed it. This is just a case of Valve not, you know, giving us enough freedom to kind of change stuff like that. I hope one of the two things I described in this happens and he can either adjust it to make it work with that screen better, or maybe in the future Valve allows them to do stuff with the screen on the back, although I really doubt it. Next up, one I'm sure a lot of you recognize instantly, we've got the Zeus Spectron. It's already in a FAMAS on the game, and this one's a little plainer, but I will say the buttons on the bottom I think look sick. The laser on the front matches very well. We've got a solid red nub kind of breaking up that blackness toward the front, and of course the rainbow stripes on the side. One thing I think that's very interesting about this one is when we're looking at it, you know, we're expecting that green screen on the back to kind of break up the whole composition as it does with a lot of skins we've seen today. But due to the rainbow having that green in it, I think it kind of works. And I think also that the red trimming all over it kind of helps bring it all together as well. A pretty cool skin, and I would be happy to see it at like a purple tier in a Zeus case. This is another one that won me over very quickly. I'm a big TF2 guy. I hope if any of you guys like TF2 as well, you're enjoying the new update. I haven't gotten to play it much, but I think this looks exactly like something the medic would have in TF2. I love the heart on the front of it. I think that is awesome. The green screen on the side as well, very cool. There's also a screenshot where he shows how the skin kind of wears, you know, like we're looking at a factory new on the left, probably like a battle scarred on the right. And I like how the wear kind of follows the heartbeat signal along the side. I think that's cool. I think this skin's awesome. I would love to see it added. I am a TF2 medic player and I will be using this on my teammates in game. Next up, we've got the Zeus Celestial. This is one I almost went over as well, but I decided to give it a shot, and I'm glad I did. It very much reminds me of these like space landscapes you see people doing at like fairs and stuff with graffiti and all that. I think this one looks very, very cool. It is very vibrant, and one thing I was worried about for no reason, because it does do it, is does it hold up in game? And of course, looking at these images, we can see that it does hold up pretty well in game and look very cool. It almost gives me like a toy alien gun that a kid in the 80s would have. Very cool. I think this composition is very interesting and not like a lot of the other Zeus skins we looked at today. And for that reason, I think I would love to see it added at some point. Next up, one I'm absolutely a fan of, and yes, I'm biased. I love Next Gens. He made this. He's the creator of the original Cyrexes, and today he's hitting us with the Zeus Cyrex, and of course, it looks just as amazing on the Zeus as it does on everything else. A very interesting pattern, executed to perfection by one of the greatest skin makers in the game. The red, the black, the white, all blended together perfectly. I think the trap door on the front has a very cool pattern. I think the bottom where the laser is looks great as well. This is one I think me and a lot of others would absolutely love to add to our skin collection. Next up, we have the Zeus Chromatic Aberration. This one, you know, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. We have it on an op in the game already. And I will say I am not a fan of the 3D effect a lot of times, but I think on the pink Chromatic Aberration, it works very well, and I would love to have it in the game. I think the white highlights across it do a lot of work. I like very vibrant skins, and this is definitely one of those. I think if we were to see it added, it would be probably a pink, if not a red. Still a super cool skin that I think a lot of you would enjoy. Next up, guys, we have the Zeus Pantheon made by the legendary 2Minds. This thing is incredible. Looking at all these Zeus skins, I saw a lot where they tried to add Zeus, you know, on the handle, throwing the lightning forward. I like that they didn't go that route. We have Zeus peering down the center of the gun, lightning shooting everywhere. We have those like very vase looking drawings of clouds going across the bottom. And then also at the bottom, we have a vase looking Zeus throwing lightning. Very cool. I think the color choices in this are incredible. It's so unlike any other Zeus we've looked at today. And I think I would love to see it in the game. And I think a lot of you would like to see it too. That was a lot of Zeus skins. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're listening to this right now, it means you watched the whole thing, and I greatly, greatly appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And for that, I have a little reward for you, or a punishment, depending on if you are into this sort of thing or not. A while back, when I first started my channel, it wasn't about CSGO. That all started with my Dragon Lore video that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. I actually started playing GTA RP, and I did a one-off video of me playing Ready or Not while on edibles. Another I did was me and a couple of friends played this game called Escape from the Backrooms, and I privated all that stuff because it doesn't really fit with what the channel's about now. But the other day on stream, some people expressed interest in seeing that content now, and I am excited to report that while I'm not going to unprivate them, I'm going to swap them to unlisted, and if you want to see any of that stuff, join my Discord in the description below, and I'm going to make a channel where I link all that stuff, so if any of you guys ever want to check any of that stuff out, you're more than welcome to. Pop in the Discord. I should be showing the channel on screen right now that you will go to like see that kind of stuff, and watch to your heart's content. It's not high tier. This is when I was getting into YouTube, you know, trying to figure out the formula, stuff like that. I know if you're watching me, you're not a fan of high tier editing, so don't go into it expecting that, because I was 100 times worse then, but I think you might get a laugh out of it yet. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this whole video. Please let me know what you thought about everything in the comments below. I love hearing what you guys think about the skins and stuff like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.